Hey folks, it's Kevin here, and it is a very warm March evening here in Japan. March in Canada, where I'm from, is usually really cold, and that got me thinking about a wintertime story. Now, I haven't made too many story videos recently, actually, in a long time. So I thought tonight would be a good time to make one. Here's one about a car engine that blew up right underneath me. Oh. Sort of. So it was in the mid-90s, and I was a university student living in the east coast of Canada, and I played in several indie bands as a drummer. Now, one night, we were rehearsing at a bandmate's house, and he lived pretty far out of the way, somewhere in Sydney, Nova Scotia. So I'm from Nova Scotia originally. It was a very cold, snowy winter evening, February, possibly March, and my bandmates and I loaded up all of the stuff into a friend's car, and kind of a minivan type job that I was driving that actually my parents owned. We piled the drum set into the car, amps, guitars, bass, all kinds of gear into the car. And we're driving along myself, and a great friend of mine, Tony, was riding shotgun. Music was playing loud. We're driving down the highway for probably about 20 minutes. All is good. It is great. I'm going to drop Tony off at a local coffee shop, and he's going to make his way home from there. Now, it's pretty late, probably 11 o'clock or so, as we're driving along. Now, coming along this highway, I'm going to go onto an on-ramp onto another highway. Now, as I'm pulling up onto the on-ramp, I noticed that I started losing power in the van. It's pretty weird. First time that ever happened to me. I could feel something weird with the pedals, the odometer, it was just all messed up. The RPM gauge was kind of bobbing around. It was really weird, and I could feel again like I was losing power. I made it off the on-ramp, and I get onto the highway. And I just start going, and all of a sudden, bang! That's right, a loud bang, and all of a sudden the tachometer went 0 RPMs. I don't know much about cars, but I know that's a bad thing. So, I was able to pull it off to the side of the road and stop it. Tony and I are sitting in the car, scratching our heads, saying, what the hell just happened? And all of a sudden I could see a strange, eerie light kind of glowing and flickering from underneath the car. That's right, we quickly realized the car's on fire. The engine was on fire, so we got the hell out as fast as we could. And I said to Tony, we got to open up the hood. And he's like, you do it. I'm like, no, you do it. No, you do it. You do it. You do it. And I went back and forth. Finally, we opened up the hood. I looked at the engine of my parents' car, and there was a hole about that big right through the engine block. And there were flames coming out of it. So, two fine Canadian boys that we were, we decided to grab snow and throw snow on it. That did indeed put the fire out. Now, of course, the car wasn't going anywhere. Luckily, one of my other bandmates was behind us in his little tiny Nissan Micra. We were able to get the valuable equipment out of my car into his car, and off we went and drove to a local donut shop, a 24-hour donut shop. Called the local police detachment of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and let them know that we had a vehicle on the road and all the whole situation. The next day, it got towed away to a garage. Found out that it threw a rod through the engine block, which caught on fire. Now, I don't drive here in Japan, and I haven't driven in years. But in Canada, I drove a lot. I miss driving. I wish I had a car. I don't miss things like that winter night back in the mid-90s in Canada, when my car engine went bang!